the feels are so strong in this finale. However, I do have a bit of a gripe with this finale, but let's get into it. So the episode pretty much begins with Aku doing like a massive, I guess, live stream or whatever, like a live broadcast of something that he wants to show. And during this entire deal, we pretty much see all the characters that have been influenced by Jack in some way or another. Hell, we actually get to see more of them, like the dogs and otherwise. All these characters that were influenced by Jack seeing this live broadcast of Aku doing the opening for the show and then showing off that he's not only captured Samurai Jack, but he's also taken his sword and plans on executing him in a live broadcast. So what ends up happening afterwards is that every single person that was influenced by Jack goes straight to Aku's lair and decides to try and fight him and try to, save Jack. And I really like that. It was a cool moment to see every single person that Jack has influenced try to save Jack and help him defeat Aku. However, there is one problem I have with this entire scene. We don't see any character deaths. I mean, this would have been the perfect time to have character deaths, to make us care for these characters dying and otherwise, but we only really get one confirmed kill and a lot of insinuated deaths. We don't really see other characters die. Hell, we don't even see some of the major characters die. Not even like, the Scotsman's spear being like gotten rid of and otherwise. I find that to be a gripe because this is supposed to be the finale, the final battle against Aku, and there are barely any character deaths, and that makes me very sad because that would have gotten me more invested in the episode. So after everything is said and done, Ashi is somehow able to break the force that Aku had on her because Jack said that he loved her, and that's when Ashi finds out that she has the same abilities as Aku and is able to send her and Jack back to Jack's timeline where Jack is able to defeat Aku, like not even long after he sent them up to the future. And after Aku is defeated, Jack is about to go through a marriage with Ashi, and then she disappears because, of course, in this timeline, she doesn't exist. This is what extends to why I feel there should have been more character deaths in the episode, because it's not like it would matter in the end. All of these characters are not going to exist anymore because of the change of timeline. So it would have been fine for them to have more character deaths and make us care for these characters a little bit more. Not to mention that I have one crippling flaw with this episode. And this crippling flaw is something that the entire season has had a problem with, but it's more or less prevalent in this episode. The pacing is atrocious. I mean, this episode feels like it's on fast forward, like super fast forward, like speed impressions fast forward. Yeah, let's get a little meta there. And it's kind of to the point that I wanted to see more. It's like, I felt like if they extended the season to 13 episodes, instead of having it to 10, they could have had more time to develop Jack and Ashi's relationship, various other things of that nature, Jack fighting Aku, and various other things of that kind of stuff. Like, because of the season being rushed, this finale suffered the worst because of the rushed pacing. And not to mention, there's a couple of inconsistencies, like why did Ashi not return, disappear from her timeline if the timeline was changed? I mean, it's not like, oh, they got married immediately after, because if they did, even then, that wouldn't make much sense. And I know some people will try to say it's magic and yada yada yada, but that's kind of a hard argument to sell in kind of Samurai Jack when you think about it. So all in all, what do I think about this episode? It's a good finale, but not the best finale. I felt like this could have been a better series finale if there was better pacing. Like, if this was stretched out a little bit more to like 13 episodes instead of 10, this episode would have done better for it. But because everything was on fast forward with this 10 episode structure, this episode suffered the worst because they had to condense everything into this one 22-minute span. In my opinion, this should have been a two-parter, because then it would have fixed the 22-minute short span and probably allowed us to see more character fighting and otherwise. Jack fighting Aku for more than just 5 seconds when you really think about it, and various other things of that nature. This episode is definitely I'm glad that Samurai Jack is finally over and it's definitely a good finale, but because of the rushed nature, this was not the finale I wanted for the end of Samurai Jack, unfortunately. And that's my speed impressions on Samurai Jack CI.